Hi guys, Alex here, back with another vinyl update video for you guys. It's been a great week, collecting and accumulating more and more records, and it's great actually. I finally feel like I'm starting to sink my teeth into this vinyl thing, and as always, it's been spurred on by the vinyl community on YouTube. You guys have been uploading some awesome videos, so thank you for that. I've enjoyed watching them all, and first of all, I got to thank 23 Monkey Boots and Buddy Bopper, both of which responded to my first music thread. Thank you to you both. You both gave great responses. And if you haven't yet, then just head over to my channel, maybe check the thread out and do a response. That would mean a lot to me. But other than that, I'll get on with the vinyl finds. Right then, so I'm going to start off by showing you what's playing in the background. Really massive fan of this artist. Fortunately, he passed away a long time ago, but yeah, hugely influential on a lot of people. And what I'm listening to right now is Woody Guthrie, and this is 3 CD set Troubadour. As you can see, it just folds out like that, and picked this up very recently. And for me, I think it's all you really need. Is if you're a fan of folk music, this is kind of an essential. I really suggest you pick this up. You can get it on Amazon for very cheap, like £10 or something. You get 60 songs and something like that. And to be honest, you can't go wrong with that, because and I really think you're not going to need much else from Woody Guthrie if you have this set, because he didn't record hundreds and hundreds of songs. I expect this is probably the majority of his work encompassed into 3 discs, and it's just a really well done set. It just feels really nicely made, and got a nice description there. Says a bit about Bob Dylan. Obviously, Woody Guthrie is hugely influential on that whole folk revival in the early 60s and late 50s. So I'm listening to this quite a lot at the moment. As I say, it's playing in the background, and definitely one you should look to pick up. But now I'll get into the vinyl. Been a good week for vinyl. 2 records I'm especially excited about. First one was suggested by Buddy Bopper, and I can really relate to his music taste. He's got a wonderful taste, very similar to mine, I think. But I'm obviously still learning, and he's great to learn from. And so I went into the store, the record store near here, and they luckily have 1 copy of this left. And what I have actually is Iron and Wine's Kiss Each Other Clean. Their Iron and Wine's latest album, released I think just last month. So yeah, I went in, as I say, this was the last copy, so I was psyched to get this, and it wasn't on the shelf. He had to go and find it for me, and I was so happy when he brought it up. So yeah, suggested by Buddy Bopper, and I'm very new to Sambeam, if I'm quite honest. I hadn't heard any of his stuff before Buddy Bopper suggested it, and as soon as he did, I looked it up on YouTube and various other sites, and listened to a bit of Our Endless Number Days, which is a great record. But I listened to a bit of that, and I was blown away by that. It was really kind of up my alley. Great music, very very folky, I guess. And so I listened to that for a bit, and then I wanted to go and pick up his new album. So I went and bought this, and what can I say? I'm hugely impressed with this album. It wasn't what I was expecting really from Sambeam. Listening to Our Endless Number Days, it's very different from that, and I guess you could say a bit more pop orientated. But in this case, that's not a bad thing whatsoever. It's not kind of commercially driven or anything. Sambeam still deeply cares about the lyrics he's writing. As Buddy Bopper said in one of his videos, it's one of the most important things to him is poetry, and that he calls his songs poems or something. And I can really see that in this album. My first full-length Sambeam album, and certainly impressed with this. But it is evident that he is experimenting with things. I can see that even from listening to just 1 album before this. This is obviously a change for him, and it really does remind me a a bit of Dylan. I hate to bring everything back to Dylan, you know, I always do, but you know, in the way that Dylan was constantly evolving with his music and everything, it kind of strikes me that Soundbeam's kind of trying to do that, like keeping everything moving and not getting stuck in a you know, one particular kind of music, I guess. And he's, you know, it's great to see people experimenting with new styles, and this is very, very, I wouldn't say experimental, but as I say, it's very different from his other albums or the ones I've listened to. But there's some really catchy tunes on this album. Tree by the River and the first track, both those tracks are really really catchy. They stick in your head. So you know, this album's probably already in the top 10 like Billboard chart or whatever. But no, that doesn't matter to me. But you know, yeah, I can see this album being very popular with a lot of people. I can see a lot of people relating to this. $13.99 I paid for this, so you know, pretty cheap. It's very nicely packaged, gatefold, but you know, it's only one LP, but it's still a gatefold. I absolutely love the cover, very psychedelic, and yeah, just I think covers are very, very important in records. I think it's sometimes underestimated by some people, not in the vinyl community, but other people. That the cover is very important because it's the first thing you see. It's your first impression of the album, and this one certainly struck me at first glance. So I'm very glad I picked it up, and yeah, that's the first album I'm really excited about. And the second one popped back into the record store today. I was actually going in there to look for PJ Harvey's for latest record. I think it's called Let England Shake or something. I was looking for that, and it was all sold out or something, so I had to look around for something else, and I found this, and you know, I wasn't really excited when I found it because I've never listened to this kind of thing before, but I saw it and I recognised it instantly because Dan in Canada showed it in one of his recent finds videos, and he was raving about it. So you know, I had a look at it, read up a bit on it before buying it, and it's, you know, it generally has had some favourable reviews, and you know, I guess it's kind of critically acclaimed now as an album, and it's this Mogwai. Not sure how you say that exactly. Hardcore Will Never Die, But You Will. The latest album by Mogwai. Not heard any of their stuff before. This was kind of a leap into the unknown for me, but as I say, I instantly recognised this from Dan's recommendation. And so I thought, you know, why not? I'm at a stage now where I'm experimenting with music. As I said in other videos, I'm going through a phase of, you know, trying things out, and you know, why not buy this? You know, I think the best way to experiment is just to, you know, practice, and not practice, but just listen to as many things as possible, and that means buying albums. And as I'm getting into vinyl, I need to buy more vinyl. So yeah. I didn't see this as much of a risk, I guess I'm trying to say. So I guess it's my first exposure to post-rock, or this kind of post-rock anyway. Very instrumentally driven, and the instrumental, yeah, is instrumentally absolutely superb. I mean, it's over 50 minutes long, this album, but every note is just it's mind-blowing, really. I was hugely impressed with this, as with the Iron and Wine album. I played this through a little earlier. 4 sides, so it's a gatefold, double LP, and 4 sides, over 50 minutes long. Just it's just great music. You know, I can't believe I haven't discovered this kind of music before, and it's kind of regrettable that I haven't, but now that I have, I feel like I've opened up so many doors, and this kind of feels like the first album of many of this kind of genre. So yeah, I really love the artwork. As Dan said in his video, this is a really nice pressing. The gatefold is beautiful, the artwork is wonderful. So I'm really excited about it. I think this is only going to get better as well when I listen to it through a bit more. So yeah, I'm really psyched by those two albums, and as I say, those are the two most expensive albums I purchased in the last week. Right, as you can kind of probably guess by now that I've only bought two expensive records, or two kind of newer releases in the last week. You probably guessed by now that I'm pretty short of money, like most students are. So I'm going to whiz through a couple of other things I bought, other records, but all of these were either found in various places or purchased in charity shops for literally a couple of quid. So nothing really special here, like and nothing I'm really massively excited about like I was with those two, but still worth showing, I think. First thing, Snowflakes Are Dancing by Tomita. I showed this, had this playing in one of my other videos, and really love this. Great sound. It's, as I said, it's kind of orchestrated electronica, and you wouldn't think those two kind of fuse together, but they do, and they really well done, really well produced record, done in 1974. Not something, I found this in my grandma's loft, and it's really not something I would expect my grandma to be listening to. It's very experimental and definitely not something I'd expect her to listen to, but yeah, that's where I found it, and definitely something you should check out. I'm pretty sure you can find this very cheap, so yeah, that's the Snowflakes Are Dancing. Second of all, John Lennon's Double Fantasy. I think this is kind of a staple record in any Beatles or kind of Lennon fans collection, because yeah, I'm a massive fan of John Lennon. He was probably my favourite Beatle, either him or George. I like both of them, but I've been kind of I've got a very small John Lennon solo collection, his solo records, so I thought, why not buy this? This was £2 in the charity shop, and this was his last record he ever recorded with Yoko in New York, before he tragically died. Yeah, tragic loss for the music industry, and I think people are still trying to get over it in a way. So I see this as kind of a staple, and something I couldn't not buy. It's and listening through, I surprised myself. I really enjoyed Yoko's songs almost as much as John's. Yeah, I have a lot of time for this record and John Lennon. So that's that. And then finally, we got this record here, which is Duke by Genesis. I believe this is like their 8th studio album. It's released in something like 1980. I think it was 1980, yeah. My first ever Genesis record. I've never even listened to Genesis before, surprisingly, in my life. So this is my first exposure to them, and really impressed with this album. I read some reviews on it, and this kind of seemed like people were saying this was a return to form. I wouldn't know, obviously. This was after Peter Gabriel left the band, I know that. But it is a bit more accessible, I guess, for some people, and that's why a lot of people liked it. But yeah, I really love the artwork, and it's a gatefold, nice condition, and I got this in a charity shop, so again it was only a couple of quid, and yeah, I thought, why not? So those are basically all the finds, guys. It was not a bad week for finding records. Once I get a bit more money together, I can get some more. Well, I'm hoping to get a lot more, but that's all I got for you now. Thanks again to Buddy Bopper and Monkey Boots, 23 Monkey Boots, for replying to my thread, and I'll be back soon with more. Subscribe, comment, yeah, just visit my channel and tell me what you think. Alright, thanks guys.